Okay, so we're going to be looking at the expectations of, well, it's an introductory class, and we're going to be introducing really the Cape Biology syllabus. And it's important that we have a copy of the biology syllabus. With each class, I'll go through the objectives you're going to be covering, and you'll be able to check as we're going through the uh, course that I cover all objectives and that you know all the objectives, because this is really what's most important. So, what are objectives that we want to look at? Well, the student should be aware of the structure and expectations of the CXC towards Cape Biology. Be aware of the expectations towards the IA component of the subject. Be aware of the structure of the examination papers and know what to expect in relation to classes for the upcoming year. I think that because we're in 6A and we've done Unit 1 biology already, we're fairly aware of the structure of the syllabus and the structure of the exam papers. For example, you have one written paper which has 3 questions, one from each module. Um, you also have a multiple choice paper, and then you have a IA component, and the IA component is worth 20% of the total, and the other 2 papers are worth 40% each, and therefore it's a good idea to try and get as many marks as you can in the SBA, because it is in fact possible to get very close to full marks on that, and that sets you well on the way for getting a good grade. And also for the multiple choice, many of the questions are repeats. So, what's in store for us this year? Unit 2, like Unit 1, has 3 modules. The first one is bioenergetics and conservation. The second one, biosystems maintenance. And the third, applications of biology. Uh, so this one is basically biochemistry. This looks at organs and organ systems like the heart and the circulation of both plants and animals and kidneys and so on. The last one is applications of biology. Kind of looks at immunology and that kind of thing. So it's the one which is has a lot of medicine involved in it. So people tend to like that uh, part of the syllabus. And then in general, what are the aims of the syllabus? Probably did the same things last year because the same overall objectives are the same, overall goals, I should say. They should enable students to acquire a body of knowledge and develop an understanding of biological concepts and principles, and promote understanding of how information can contribute to the reformation or rejection of earlier models and concepts. Recognize the scope of biology at all levels, from the molecular level to that of body systems and entire ecosystems. This is a very interesting idea, as we're going to look at, say, photosynthesis from the biological level. It goes all the way up to the plant itself. Facilitate the development of the ability to communicate scientific information in a logical and structured manner. and develop an understanding of a scientific method and the ability to apply it to solving problems, both academic and non-academic settings. Assist the development of critical, analytical, and practical thinking skills. So we're going to critical thinking, analytical thinking, and practical skills. Encourage students to appreciate the impact of biological knowledge on society and its relevance to ethical, economic, environmental, and technological issues. Develop the ability to apply biological knowledge and skills to relevant Caribbean situations and issues. Develop the ability to work independently and collaboratively with others. Promote appreciation of the significance and limitations of science in relation to social and economic development, and promote an integration of information, communication, and technological tools and skills. So all of those are relevant to biology. So what skills are going to be assessed? Well, knowledge and comprehension and use of knowledge. These are tested by papers 1 and 2. And then experimental skills at CSPA. And it says what knowledge and comprehension is and what use of knowledge is. And the question papers will have all of these involved. And then following that, it says what analysis and interpretation is. Identify and recognize component parts of the whole. Identify causal factors. Infer, predict, and draw conclusions. And make necessary accurate calculations. All of those are synthesis. Synthesis really is tested when you do your P&D labs, because you combine component parts from a new meaningful whole. When we do a P&D lab, you're supposed to design your own lab, and therefore you're putting different components together. And a good P&D lab, of course, everyone will have slightly different one. And then, of course, evaluation, the ability to make reasoned judgments and recommendations based on the values and ideas, and information of the implications. Experimental skills, ORR, involve all of these components. M&M, of course. The drawing one is important because this is what we're going to use to form the mark scheme for drawing and make clear, accurate line representation of specimens with no shading or unnecessary detail. So normally when you make drawings, you just do line representations and don't bother doing any cells or that kind of thing. We'll encounter that very soon. Produce illustrations with clean continuous lines of even thickness. Label illustrations accurately and use label lines which do not cross each other. And annotate illustration appropriately and make illustrations which are large enough to display scientific detail and calculate magnification. And notice you have 6 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and drawing is now marked out of 8. So when we do drawings, we're probably going to increase the marks of some of these. For example, I suppose where you have annotation, just which one. This can be marked out of 2 um, and sufficient details will be another 2 marks. P and D, again, we know all of this. And this indicates the marks for the different skills. I notice these 2 are out of 12. And some of the marks come for this part, an investigative project. So we've got to look at this part. And the project you did last year. So you don't have to do that over. And that basically is what we're going to do this year. As I said, I intend to give a YouTube video for every single class, which well goes over more or less the same things I'll mention in class time. It's kind of similar to what we did last year when we would copy make a video of the class. It's not very convenient to video a class while I'm teaching it in a classroom setting, so it's best that I do it this way. So therefore, at this point, we can finish this class, which is simply an introductory class.